this on my little Apple mic, and it is just before bed for me, so I unfortunately will not be in the video, but I might be putting a video up so you can watch while you listen. Chapter 1. Vida said so. Also, I'm not very good at reading, so don't mind if I stutter. So let's get started. Vida set her jaw and nodded at the city in greeting as a boxer greets her opponent before the fight. She stood alone on the deck of the ship. The sea was wild and stormy, casting salt sprays 30 feet into the air, and all the other passengers on the ocean liner, including her mother, had taken sensible refuge in their cabins. But it's not always sensible to be sensible. Vida had slipped away and stood out in the open, gripping the rail with both hands as the boat crested. Turning the page. Turn the page. Next page. Okay, it's continuing a sentence. Vida had slipped away, stood out in the open, gripping the rail with both hands as the boat crested a wave the size of an opera house. So it was that she alone had the first sight of the city. There she is, called a deckhand in the distance port side. New York climbed out in the mist, tall and grey, blue and beautiful, so beautiful that it pulled Vida forwards towards the bow of the boat to stare. She was leaning over the railing as far as she dared when something came flying at her head. She gasped and ducked low. A seagull was chasing a young crow across the sky, picking at its back, wheeling and shrieking in mid-air. Vida frowned. It wasn't, she thought, a fair fight. She felt in her pocket and her fingers closed on an emerald green marble. She took aim. A brief and angry calculation of distance and angle, drew back her arm and threw. The marble caught the seagull on the exact center of the back of its skull. The gull gave a scandalized cry of angry dodges, and the crow spun in the air and sped back towards the skyscrapers of New York. They took a cab from the docks. Vida's mother carefully counted a handful of coins and gave the driver the address. "As close as we can get for that, please," she said, and he took care of the mended hems and nodded. Manhattan sped past outside the window, bright bursts of colour amid the storm-beaten brick and stone. They passed a cinema, its walls adorned the pictures of Great Garbo, and a man selling hot lobster claws out of a cart. A tram thundered past a crossroad, narrowly missing a van advertising the Colonial Pickle Works. Vida breathed in the city. She tried to memorize the layout of the streets, to build a map in her eyes. She whispered the names: Washington Street, Greenwich Avenue, Greenwich Avenue, Greenwich Avenue. When the money ran out, they walked. They went as fast as Vida could go in the ferocious winds, suitcases in hand, along the 7th Avenue, dodging Pin Street men and sharp-heeled women. "There," said Vida's mother. "That's Grandpa's flat, the apartment building on the corner of 7th and West 57th rose up, tall and stately in brown stone from the busy pavement. I'm just correcting the microphone. a light red brick building. Its facade arched an ornament, flagpoles. Okay, I don't know how these words. Flagpoles protruded from its wall, and two flags flapped wildly. Above them, picked out in coloured glass, were the words Carnegie Hall. It all looks very smart, said Vida. The apartment block appeared to purse its lips at the world. Are you sure this is the place? I'm sure, said her mother. He's on the top floor, right under the roof. It used to be the maid's apartment. It'll be a squeeze, but not for long. Their return ticket was booked for 3 weeks' time. Enough time, said Vida's mother, to sort out Grandpa's papers, pack his few things, and persuade him to come back home with them. Home. I wonder where they live. I wonder where they live. I wonder where they live. Come on, said her mother's voice. Oh, her mother's voice sounded unnaturally bright. Let's go and find him. The lift was broken, so Vida half ran up the stairs to Grandpa's apartment, jerkily as fast as her legs would take her. Her suitcase banged against the walls as she raced up narrow flights of stairs, ignoring the growling pain in her left foot. Oh, that was meant to be growing. Ignore that. I feel like, what was that one guy? I Show Speed. I think it was him. Or was it the other guy? I'm sorry, I get all the streamers mixed up. Anyway, where he's like reading the book and he puts the timer up. Anyways, she came to rest, breathless, outside the door. She knocked, but there was no response. Vida's mother came, panting up the final flight of stairs. She bent to pick the apartment key up from under the mat. She hesitated, looking down at her daughter. I'm sure he won't be as bad as we have feared, she said. But, Mama, he's waiting. Mama, a girl behind you. Okay. Her mother opened the door and Vida went tearing down the hall. And then in the doorway she froze. Grandpa had always been thin, handsome, young, and lean, with fine hands and shrewd blue-green eyes. Now he was gaunt, and his eyes had drawn back to his skull. His fingers had drawn inwards into his fists, as if every part of him was pulling back from the world. A walking stick leaned against the wall next to his chair. He hadn't needed a walking stick before. He had not seen her, and just for that second, his face looked sculpted from solid grief. Grandpa, said Vida. How many pages? There's not many pages until chapter 2, so I might stop and do a part 2 if you guys want. But then he turned and his face was transfigured with light, and she could breathe again. Rapscallion, he stood and Vida hurled herself into his arms and he laughed, winded by the impact. Julia, he says, as Vida's mother came in, I only got your telegram 3 days ago, or I would have stopped you. Vida's mother shook her head. Just try and hold us back, Dad. Grandpa turned to Vida. Smile again for me, Rapscallion. So she smiled, at first naturally, and then when he didn't look away, wider, until it felt like every single one of her teeth was showing. Thank you, Rapscallion, he said. You have your grandmother's smile still. Vida's stomach clenched as she saw tears rise in her grandmother's eyes. Grandpa, ? He coughed and smiled and cleared his throat. God, it's good to see you. But there was no need. Julia pushed Vida towards the door. Go and find your room, darling, she said. But, please, said her mother. Her face was white and exhausted. Now. It's the one at the end of the corridor, said Grandpa. More of a cupboard than a room, I'm afraid, he said, but the view is very fine. Vida went slowly down the corridor in her suitcase in hand. She noticed how the floorboards squeaked, how the paint peeled from the wall. She pushed pushed at the door. It stuck. She held onto the wall and kicked it with her strong foot. It flew open, scattered thin shards of paper. Plaster. Okay, I did not just say paper. The room was so small she could practically touch all four floors at once. But it had a wooden wardrobe and a window looking out over the street. Vida sat on the bed, pulled off her left shoe, and took her foot in both hands. She dug her fingers into the sole, pointing and flexing the toes, and tried to think. They had arrived. She should be thrilled. They had made it across the ocean, halfway around the world. And New York waited outside the window, stretching up to the sky like the calligraphy of a particular flamboyant god. But none of that mattered at all because Grandpa wasn't as bad as she had feared. He was worse. Vida's skirt pockets were full of gravel from the gardens back home. She picked out the largest stones and began to throw them at the wardrobe door. It helped her think. I wonder if she lives in England. A person watching might have noted that each hit the precise mathematical center of the wardrobe handle, but nobody was watching, and Vida herself barely noticed. Her mind was not on the stones. She had to do something to make it right. She did not know yet what nor how, but love has a way of leaving people no choice. And that is up to chapter 2. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 for each chapter, or for multiple chapters. I can do a longer video, but I think with all those starters, I think it will be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed. I love watching people whisper with Apple mics. So I'll see you in my next one.